G'day all, it's Colin from PC TLC and thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be looking at installing Debian 10 Buster, and we're going to have a look at the different ways we can install Debian 10. First of all, let's have a look at the web page of Debian. Now we've got two pages here that we can go to, and I'll leave these links in the show notes because I won't put anyone through the pain and suffering of trying to find these ISOs on the Debian website. it's trying to put a jigsaw puzzle together with the clicking of a mouse. It's sometimes can be very difficult to navigate the Debian website, so I'll leave these links in the show notes. Now this is the original ISO, Debian 10. You only need to download the first one unless you plan on installing software from the disks. The first ISO is all you need to get a Debian install complete. Now the other link we have is this one here, which is now the Debian live disks, which you can install. You can try it out live, and if you like it you can install it using the Calamares installer that comes along on the live disk itself. And you have all the different desktops available here as a download for ISO. You can write it to USB and check it out. So I've downloaded the GNOME one, and I think I've also downloaded the KDE Plasma as well. I'm going to be probably installing the GNOME one for now. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be installing these in VirtualBox, because we're going to have a look at installing the original one first, and there's two ways of installing that. There's the Ncurses way, and there's also the graphical way, and then we'll do the live way. Now this is just more simplified for me to do on VirtualBox, as you can't record the you can record the live desktop, but I'll do it in VirtualBox instead, and then we'll have a look at it on real hardware. So let's get the first one up and running, which will be the Debian original install. So you've got the graphical and you've got the original, which is the I think it's called Ncurses. So let's get that going, and I'll scale this up for you so we can have a better look at it, or a closer look. So let's start the install. English for me. Just pressing enter. I'm just using the keyboard here. Select your location, which is Australia, and American English, the keyboard is normally mine. Yep. So the first part here is enter the host name for the system. So I'll call this Debian-VirtualBox. Actually, maybe Debian original, so we know it's the original install. And hit the tab key to continue. Press enter. Don't worry about the domain name. Don't need to do that. Skip that one. So it says here the root user should not have an empty password. If you leave this empty, the root account will be disabled and the system's initial user account will be given the power to become root using the sudo command. So we're going to leave that blank, I believe. Let's see, enter the real name of this user. And Colin is fine for me, and a password. Western Australia. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to use the entire disk. So we can guided use the entire disk, or we can use manual. Let's just use the entire disk. You can have a separate home partition there, separate home var and temp partitions. Let's just go all partitions, all files in one partition for the purpose of the video, and we finish partitioning and write changes to disk. Write the changes to disk, yes. Do we want to scan another CD or DVD? Only if we downloaded the second and third DVD or CD. Otherwise, that's a no. Use a network mirror, yes. From Australia. And I've had good success with this one in the past, so we'll use that one. Don't need a proxy. That just gives you a choice of which country to get the mirrors from, which will make your network faster for Debian. Now we're going to select and install software. So this is where this Ncurses installer gives you a chance to choose your desktop environment. The configuring the popularity contest. For this one I'll say no. That just means that you're willing to send some information to Debian to help them out. Now we get a chance to choose our desktop, which is the advantage of this installer. Otherwise you go and download the desktop you want, and you can install with a nice graphical installer using Calamaris. And I believe there's probably more desktop choices there than what there is in this selection here. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to choose probably XFCE. So what we need to do is press the space key to select that, and there's a little star there. So we'll use XFCE for this example. Print server, that's about all we need, I think. And tab to continue and press enter. Any other desktop is probably got a lot of packages to come down with them, so XFCE has probably got a smaller amount, so that just makes the installer go a little bit quicker. Install the grub bootloader to the master boot record. Yes, that's what we want to do. And device dev SDA. Installation is complete. We'll have to make sure we remove the ISO when rebooting. We shall use the default config for XFCE, and that's that one there. and that's the install of Debian 10 Buster with the XFCE desktop. So what I'm going to try and do is install the guest editions for that. Well, actually the first thing we'll do is we'll update the system first. So let's open a terminal and do a sudo apt get update. That's the first thing we'll do. So that's another thing that happens after this install is you'll probably find that the DVD is still connected somehow. So we need to open, I don't know if it comes with Synaptic installed. Synaptic Package Manager, yes it does. And we'll probably find that the disk is still connected on this install. So we go to settings and repositories and you'll see that the CD-ROM. So if you got an error, which is what we got there, uncheck that CD-ROM and click OK and then reload the repositories. You should find that everything should be fine after that. Let's just check it out. Let's do another update. And there we go, there's no errors. So that's very typical of that because if you've got, I think they do that by default because some people probably download the second and third disk and install packages from there. I've never done that, so I'm really sure how that works, but I just do it from the internet myself, from the main repositories anyway. So then we'll do an upgrade and make sure there's up to date, and that's it. So the one thing I want to look at is, first of all, I'll see if I can install the guest editions now that we've updated. Not sure if this is going to be an easy process or a difficult process. So we need to change directories to this here. So let's do that. Change directory to media, hit the tab key to autocomplete, CD-ROM and enter, and then ls for list, and we want to run the VBoxLinuxAdditions.run. So if we do sudo /VBox, let's see if we can get that to, oops, tab key doesn't work for that for some reason. VBox Linux, we need to type that whole thing out. Linux Additions .run password. So I'm going to add a password for root. So I'm going to sudo password root. I've just put a password in and I'll retype that password. So now we can go su-enter password. So that allows us to be in as root. As you can see, root there. And then we're going to change the directory again to the media directory. CD-ROM, tab to autocomplete and list, and we will permission denied. We need to sudo apt install build essential module assistant and dkms. Let's install that. So just so you can see what I did there, because I forgot I didn't have this scaled screen up. So you can see the command that I did there. I can leave that in the show notes anyway. Hopefully this all works. Now what we need to do is exit that, do a reboot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to m-a prepare. Okay, so su and password. M-a prepare. Then we will /media CD-ROM 0, I think it is. So we'll change directory to media and list. So I think we need to add Virtualbox to the group. So we need to sudo group add VBox share folder. If I type that right, geez. GROU. Okay, and then add myself to that, and then maybe we can go with that. We need to sudo group add VBox users, and then add myself to that group. Just log out and log back in. This is a lot of mucking around just to get some guest additions going. So sudo sh.virtualboxadditions.run is what makes it work. So I don't know why. Yeah, I remember doing that once before, but it was a long time ago. Not that long ago, but long enough for me not to remember again. Don't know why it needs sh. Used to work with just the ./, but need sh in front. Alright, so that looks like that's completed, so we shall reboot again and see how we go. And I'll rescale that. View full screen, and there we go, we got full screen. I don't know why it's so hard to get guest additions running in Debian. It's a real challenge, that one. Alright, so we've got Debian installed, XFCE desktop. Just want to have a quick look at the repos and see what they've got there. So I'm going to sudo nano etc apt sources.list, and we have buster main contrib. So what we need to do there is to give you access to the non-free stuff, that needs to be contrib space non-free, and that should be at the end of every line, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Just arrow down, it goes to the end of each line anyway, or just about. So contrib non-free 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 and non-free. I believe that's the best way to do it. Control O and then enter to save, and then Control X to exit. And let's do a update, sudo apt update. All packages are up to date. Then we should be able to install codecs and things like that with the non-free added. Just let me know if that is incorrect with the non-free at the end, but I'm pretty sure it's at the end of every line. If anyone has a different approach to that, yeah, just put it down in the show notes, let me know. We can check that out. I won't go through the codecs and so forth in this install. This was just to show you how to install Debian 10 Buster with the Ncurses installer, and then we'll have a look at the Ncurses installer with the graphical installer, and we'll check that out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it interesting and informative, and thanks for watching.